Hey guys, welcome back to Recruiting in Yoga Pants with Amy Miller. I'm so excited for our second video in our compensation series. So we started last week talking about comp and specifically how do companies come up with comp ranges. So this has been a topic I've wanted to tackle for a long time. It's something I'm super crazy passionate about, just salary negotiations and compensation, and we hear a lot about wage gaps and women aren't good negotiators and men ask for more and all of these things that we've all heard of or potentially experienced, or you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not here to point fingers at any companies or any people, but these are just things that are talked about a lot in our industry, and I think the more transparency that we can offer and the more we can just kind of peel back the curtain and be like, whoa, hey, hold on, here's how this really works, the better equipped we're all going to be when it's our turn. So, and I say that to you as a recent candidate. I just negotiated my own salary for my new job when I started about 6 weeks ago. So over the holidays or kind of before, Thanksgiving, Christmas, I was having these discussions as a candidate, and it sucked. For someone who does this for a living, I sure am bad at it when it comes to myself. So yeah, I wish I could tell you, oh, here's a magic wand and just wave it and you'll get exactly what you asked for. It's not that easy. But what I can do is give you a little bit of insight into how recruiters are viewing the salary negotiation process, the things that we're hoping to learn from you, things that are helpful for us as we're trying to get you the best possible offer, and mostly bust the myth that recruiters don't want to give you a good offer. How many people, show of hands, I know I can't see you, but this is still, just go with it. How many of you feel like the recruiter's job is to screw you out of some money? Anybody? Anybody feel that way? Like somehow, somewhere, the recruiter is obviously getting a kickback because I know they're lowballing me. That just doesn't make any sense. I gotta be honest with you. Now let me explain, because I do have one story someone told me that I thought was really interesting and really shady on the recruiter's part. But so here's the way comp affects a recruiter. On the agency side, there's two kinds of offers that a recruiter can make. One is obviously a full-time offer, and you're going to go work directly for a company, and the recruiter is being paid a fee, which is a percentage. In most cases, there's different kinds of agreements, but in most cases, a recruiter is getting a percentage of your salary. They're charging 25%, and that's the fee that they get for delivering you through this entire process, start to finish, and you show up at your new employer, hopefully. So if I'm that recruiter and I know that I'm about to bill 25% of your compensation, am I going to make more money if I get you $100,000, or am I going to get more money if I lowball you and offer you $80,000? I mean, I'm no math whiz, but I feel like the more money you make, the more money I make. I mean, that's just how it worked when I was an agency recruiter many, many years ago. So the idea that an agency recruiter, for example, is going to lowball you it's just a little silly. It does not help them. They do not make more money. They do not get a kickback if they're saving money. They literally make more money if you make more money. Now, that is not an excuse to go and overcharge. That's not an excuse to make up grandiose expectations that don't align with the market, which we talked about last week. But it is definitely a very good reason to make sure that we're making the right offer and we're getting you the compensation you deserve for the work that you're going to perform. Now, the other side, the other way an agency recruiter can make money is on hourly billings. So you may have someone that is going to go make $20 an hour doing whatever kind of work, and the company is then billing the agency is billing the company, let's say $40 an hour. I have no idea what a good markup is these days, but let's just make it up. So there is a $20 an hour delta, of course, and that is what the agency makes. So that is not only their profit, but that also covers all the employment related costs, all the things that are associated with having you on their payroll. Because as a contractor, you are typically an agency employee. So that difference, that bill rate, that markup, whatever you want to call it, is where the agency is hopefully going to make some money. Now, here's where it can get tricky. And I think this is a situation that one of my LinkedIn connections shared with me, where they had agreed to a certain rate. This candidate was expecting to come in and make X, understanding, of course, the company is going to be paying Y, ended up actually getting a smaller hourly rate. The comp was actually knocked down. His concern, which frankly was my immediate reaction to, was, are you trying to squeeze more money out of this deal? Like, did the bill rate go down too, or just my comp? And so needless to say, he didn't take the job, and it was just kind of messy. So that is one kind of weird scenario that you might have just a shady person that is not on the up and up, but it's rare because, again, we want you to take the job. We want you to stay at the job for a while. So finally, I'll round it out with the internal recruiter, which is what I do. I've been in-house for many years now at a few different tech companies. And do you know how much money I make if I undercut your salary? Go ahead and guess. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, zero. That's the answer you're looking for. I get absolutely nothing if I offer you a below market offer. If I come in less than your expectations, less than the average, less than our approved ranges, less than our midpoint, whatever it might be, I get nothing for it except probably a headache. And I'm refilling the position again in 6 months when you've moved on to something that pays better. So again, there are always going to be weird one-off scenarios, shitty people, unusual circumstances. I'm not saying you're never, ever, ever going to run into a recruiter that isn't maybe kind of shady. I wish I could say that you won't, but I've also been doing this for a really long time and I've met some of them. There are shady people in every industry. I don't care what you're doing. However, in most cases, the recruiter has your best interest and by default, their own best interest at heart. I want to make a placement. I want to get somebody hired. I want to get this role filled. I want the right person to come and do this damn job so I don't have to think about it anymore. I mean, I've got every reason in the world to make you the best possible offer and to hope and pray that you not only accept, but that you happily stay for a long time. So that is where I'm coming from as a recruiter. I think 99.9% of my recruiting brethren feel the exact same way. So what is the key to building that relationship, building that trust, and making sure that we're getting people on the right path when it comes time to make an offer? I talked about this last week. I think I mentioned this. The idea is we want to talk about compensation early, specifically, and often. Early, often, and specifically. It probably doesn't matter the order, whatever. Early, often, and specifically. Let's go with that. We want to talk about it early for the reasons that we talked about last week. We want to make sure we're not wasting anyone's time. I want to make sure I can afford you. I want to make sure that your expectation isn't out of whack. I will tell you that if somebody comes at me with a number that's absolutely batshit crazy and they're like trying to double their salary, I'll just be like, okay, that's really interesting. Help me understand how you came up with that. What labor market information do you have that I clearly don't have that says this is what this role is worth? And more often than not, they're like, actually, come on, let's just be straight with each other, okay? We're gonna be working together for a while. Let's just not lie to each other, please. By that same token, you as a job seeker should absolutely be able to expect the recruiter to come back with, look, let me tell you what we're thinking here. Let me tell you what we think cost of labor looks like. Let me tell you what, kind of a minimum offer would look like. There is a danger that comes with telling you a range. I know a lot of people espouse that, and they say if a recruiter doesn't give you a range, they're a horrible person. It's the handmaiden of Satan, and she's going to screw you over in the end. I don't buy that totally. Here's the problem with ranges, okay? So I want you to play a little game with me here in our last minute or two. I'm going to tell you that this job pays between $100,000 and $120,000 a year. That is the range that we've established for this position. You're my candidate, $100,000 and $120,000 a year. That's the number that you hear. My hiring manager, Zoey, who's over here laying on the floor, I'm going to tell Zoey the same thing. Hey, Zoey, we're going to have to get this candidate, and they're going to cost us between $100,000 and $120,000 a year. And Zoey says, fine, that's our range, we're good. So I'm now going to come back after this process has played out, and I'm going to say, hey, guess what, candidate? I got you $110K. Boom, fist bump. What? No fist bump? No? High five? No? Oh. That finger. Okay. Hey, Zoey, this person's costing 110. Yay. Aren't you excited? Fist bump. No, Zoey's not fist bumping me either. Here's why. You heard 120. Zoey heard 100. That's the problem with ranges. Okay? All jokes aside, I know I'm being a little silly with this, but in all seriousness, if I come at you with a range that says 100 and 120, and I come back at you right dead smack in the middle at 110, which should be more than fair, you're going to wonder, well, why the hell didn't I get the top of the range? If I go to Zoey with the same concept, hey, Zoe, you knew this person was going to cost me 100 and 120. I got them for 110. Beat their expectations, everybody's good. Zoey's gonna be like, why the hell were you overpaying this person? Why, you said 100. No, I didn't. So that's the danger with ranges. And again, these are very broad, kind of silly examples, but these are real life scenarios that I've been in one way or another. So again, talking about minimums with your candidates and saying, look, I'm not coming at you with anything that's less than 100K. I promise when you get that 110 message, it doesn't feel so bad. Right? Because you knew, like, okay, I know there was a minimum. I'm above the minimum by a nice little chunk. That's cool. Same thing with Zoey. If I say, look, Zoey, you better be ready to pay 120 or we're not going to win, and I come back with that same 110, Zoey's going to be pretty happy and feel like she just saved some money. So this is probably as far as I'll go with gameplay. I don't like, trying to manipulate people. It doesn't feel right. But I also understand that how people hear me and what they take away from what I say is super, super, super important. So just understand that that is ultimately the recruiter's role in this process, to make sure that everybody feels good about the final numbers. Everyone is on board with the offer that needs to be made. You can feel good about accepting, Zoey can feel good about paying, and we all go away happy, and hopefully I don't have to refill this damn role for another 6 years. All right, so stick around. Or I want you to get promoted, of course, maybe 2 years. All right, we'll go with that. I'll backfill you in 2 years. But in all seriousness, hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into how a recruiter is thinking about comp, how we're addressing it, how it impacts our paychecks. And yeah, that's where we're at. So we are out of time. Next week, we will talk specifically about negotiations and all the fun to be had going back and forth and back and forth. And what about this? And I forgot about that. Stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. All right, we'll see you guys in a week.